Success means many wonderful positive things. Success means personal prosperity, financial security, a better life for you and your family. Success means finding real happiness and real satisfaction from life. Success, for those with the courage to pursue it, is the goal of life. At the outset, keep in mind that the size of your success is limited only by the size of your thinking. If you think small, with small ideas and small ambitions, then your success in turn will be small. But if you think big and believe in yourself, then your success will also be big. And here's the good news. No matter who you are, or what you are, or where you are right now, you can start thinking big. You can travel the road to big success. In fact, that's what you're doing at this very moment. You are taking your first giant step toward learning and applying the magic of thinking big to your life. Thinking big begins with believing big. You know, one of the greatest pieces of success-building wisdom is found in that biblical quotation that says, "Faith can move mountains." That is the essence of believing big. When you tell yourself, "I'm positive I can," then your attitude, your belief, generates the power, the energy, and the skill to get the job done. Just listen for a moment to these two voices.
Ooh, that's a really big project. I don't know. I think it's a little bit too broad. The scope is too big for this department. Maybe what we should do is call in an outside consultant on this one.
The difference between these two statements is belief. The first voice was a person who didn't believe in himself and who won't take on anything that looks bigger than his own petty view. The second person believed she could do it, and I'll give you my personal guarantee that because she believed she could do it, she got the job done. You see, belief is like a thermostat that regulates what we accomplish in life. Study the person that's just shuffling along down there in the mud of mediocrity. He believes that he's worth very little, and so he receives very little, and he accomplishes very little. His lack of belief in himself shows through in the way he walks, the way he talks, and the way he acts. Unless he can readjust his belief thermostat forward, his image of himself is going to continue to shrink. And since others see in us exactly what we see in ourselves, he will grow smaller in the estimation of the people around him as well. But now look at the person who is advancing forward. This person believes he's worth a great deal, and so he receives a great deal. He believes he can handle big, important, difficult assignments, and so he can, and so he does. In fact, everything the big thinker does, the way he handles himself with people, his thoughts, his viewpoints, all say, here is a professional. Here is an important person.
Your mind is a thought factory. It's a factory that produces thousands of thoughts each day. There are two foremen in charge of your factory. One of them is named Mr. Triumph, and the other is named Mr. Defeat. Mr. Triumph is in charge of manufacturing positive thoughts. He specializes in producing reasons why you can do things, why you're qualified, why you will succeed. Mr. Defeat is in charge of negative thought production. He's your expert on developing reasons why you can't succeed, why you're weak or inadequate. To see how these two foremen work for you, try this. Say to yourself, "It's a lousy day." This thought signals Mr. Defeat into action, and he immediately manufactures thoughts to prove that you're right. It's too hot, or it's too cold, or business looks bad today, sales will drop, you don't feel like dealing with customers, you have a headache, your wife or your husband was in a bad mood this morning. Mr. Defeat is amazingly efficient. In just a few minutes, he's done his job so well that you're completely convinced that this is a really bad day. But now tell yourself, this is a fine day, and this time Mr. Triumph is signaled into action, and he tells you, yes indeed, it's a wonderful day. The weather's refreshing. It's good to be alive. You can catch up on all that work today. It's a pleasure to be doing business on a day like this. And before you know it, it is a good day. Mr. Defeat will tell you why you can't land the Mortimer account. Mr. Triumph will tell you why you can. Mr. Defeat will tell you why you don't deserve the promotion promotion and why you shouldn't even bother to try for it. Mr. Triumph will show you why no one else on earth is more qualified for that job than you are. Mr. Defeat will help you prepare a brilliant case against the guy you work with. He'll show you why he's impossible to be around and how he makes your life miserable. Mr. Triumph will show you his positive qualities and help you find ways to make your association with him succeed. The more you work with either of these foremen, the stronger they become, and the more space they take up in your mind. If you give Mr. Defeat more work, he'll take up more and more of the space, so that eventually your thought factory is producing nothing but negative thoughts. But if you give Mr. Triumph the work, then your thought factory will produce the thoughts that will propel you towards success. In fact, you can fire Mr. Defeat. You'll discover that you really don't need him at all. You can use Mr. Triumph 100% of the time and produce only positive, productive thoughts. The result of this kind of thought production is the most basic ingredient in personal success: self-belief.
It's so funny we're talking about, there's nothing even remotely, there's not even something even 22% the size of WFG. It's hilarious that you think that there's something like this. My God, this is a behemoth. This is the Lakers, this is the Yankees, this is the Celtics, this is the Dallas Cowboys, this is the Patriots. There's nothing like it in the world. There's some dream stealers. You need to look out for these 4. I don't want them to happen to you. You ready? Say yes. Dream stealer number 1 that'll take you out of here. Lack of confidence or faith. Lack of belief. It'll steal your dream. You got to know you're going to win. You got to have some faith. These people sitting around you right now, they're whispering to you, you could do this. I believe you. Just like when you were a little boy, just like when you were a little girl. They've always believed in you. They've always known you were going to do something special. They always knew you were great. You need to know it. You need to take that God that's sitting there with you and those precious souls that have passed, that have always believed in you, and you carry them with you everywhere. They're with you anyway. Acknowledge them. If you don't believe that, honor them. Honor God. Honor these people who believed in you with your magnificent life. Honor them. Don't give in to lack of belief, lack of confidence. Don't ever do that again. Don't do it in WFG or out of WFG. You were made to do something great. You're special. You were made in the image of God. Something awesome's supposed to happen for you. And those of you that have made something awesome happen, something even more awesome's supposed to happen for you. Number 2 thing that steals the dream: failure and setbacks. People quitting, chargebacks, flunking the exam. That's all going to happen. Just get ready. If you're an entrepreneur and you want to do something great, you're going to have false start after false start. False start after false start. Get it going, then you don't. Get it going, then you don't. Your group grows, then it shrinks. I'm telling you right now, just know that. You're going to make some money, then you're not. Being an entrepreneur, tons of false starts, tons of setbacks. But see, a guy like me, I knew someone was better than me. There's more talented people than me, probably more talented than you. But like my dad said, the best ability is availability. You might outwork me for 30 days or 60 days or 90 days, but you ain't going to beat me over a year. You can't outwork me over 2 years. You aren't going to outwork me over 3 years. I'm going to get you eventually. I'm a dripping damn faucet. I just keep coming at you, just like you could be, right? Just like you could be. I just keep coming.
My dream of being a television star and comedian started when I was very young. I was 10 years old. It's very important that you have dreams and visions. You have to want something in your life, and at 10 years old, I knew I wanted to be something special. I had, I grew up very poor. We were very, very poor, and I didn't want to be poor. I just didn't. I was tired. At 10, I was tired. I was tired of being poor at 10, so it was quite a struggle, but I had always dreamed of being on television. I would watch TV as a young boy, and I just wanted that. And it became very, one of the most important facets of my life was to aspire to be something more. You have to have dreams and visions. Without it, you perish. You cannot survive in this world without wanting something more, because it propels you to get an education. It propels you to greatness, but you have to want more. And so probably 10 years old, I started thinking about being on TV, which coming from a very poor neighborhood wasn't that good of a thing, because look, who do I tell this to? Who do I tell this to? I couldn't tell it to my parents. My mother and father, TV, a star. What? No, you're going to get a job like your brothers, and you're going to work as a construction worker like your father and your brothers. That's what you are going to be. But God had put so much more in my head at 10. I just wanted to be more. So that was the beginning for me, 10 years old.
So I went to the next mode, necessary, to start talking to people and seeking and asking for what I wanted and leveraging relationships and trying to find out, how do the people do it that went ahead of me? How do they do it? And then what is it I need to do? How is it I need to train myself, to develop myself? What's the resources that will be required in order to make it happen? And as I start seeking out and asking questions, I started running into people who said, I know someone who can help you do that. And they helped me get connected with those people. Remember, we have so much energy that can take us so far. It's necessary that you hook up with some other energy that can take you to the next level. I hooked up with them. They said, let's go. I said, away we go. And guess what? Here we are. I love it. You want your stuff? It's necessary you take responsibility for it, that you make it happen, that you don't give up, that you don't take any objection or disappointment or defeats personally, that you keep on keeping on, that you don't decide that I can't make it because you can't see the light at the end of the tunnel, that you realize that's a part of the program. And here's something you've got to resolve. Say this to yourself every day. See, as long as you're breathing, you got a shot at your dream. That's the way I resolve. Say this, please. It's not over until I win. Got that right. Not over till I get through. Not over till I get over. Not over till I get what I want. Door can't open today, look out. I'm going to come back and take the hinges off. That's how you got to do that. You've got to have that kind of courage, that type of determination. If you want to make it happen, it's you. That you've got to take personal responsibility to make it happen. That you have got to own what it is that you want to do. If it's taking care of your well-being, if it's making a difference in our school system, if it's working with senior citizens, if it's to protect our ecology, if it's to create an economic renaissance, if it's just to take yourself to another level, it's you. You've got to make that happen. We can point out many things that can make it inconvenient or can slow us down, but ultimately, it's on us. Next step is, not only is it possible and necessary, and it's you to live your dream, to make this greatness that you have within you become a reality.
Taking pictures, that's pretty easy. Buying a book at a bookstore, that's pretty easy. Here's one that's a little more challenging. Be student enough of your own life and your own future and your own destiny. Be student enough to take the time to keep the notes and keep journal. You'll be so glad you did. What a treasure to leave behind when you go, your journal. Wow, I wouldn't be without mine now. I'm in Carmel, California, one of my favorite places. It's where I wrote my first book called Seasons of Life. I went to this little church one Sunday morning. First time I'd been there. Little small church, I don't know, 150 people. Classic sermon that morning. Classic sermon. One of the best I've ever heard in all of my life. I happened to be there. And I had my journal. While this sermon is going on, I can't believe it was so precise. It was so unique. It was so powerful. And I've got my journal and I'm taking notes of this classic sermon. Guess how many other people were taking notes? Approximately, guess. How many do you suppose? It looked like, best as I could tell, I'm the only one taking note of this class sermon. Now, since I'm a stranger there, and it's the first time I've been there, and I'm taking these notes, people started looking, who is he and what's he doing? I started feeling just a little bit uncomfortable. I'm still writing. Now I'm feeling kind of like a spy, right? I could hear some of them say, he's going to get out of here with some of this stuff. And I did. I'm the guy that walked away with the stuff. I'm asking you to be no less sincere and be no less committed to the advancement of your philosophy, the set of the sail. Talk about have your best year ever this year, and then get ready for next year, your very best year ever, and they'll start being the best year after year. If you'll commit yourself to some of this simple stuff called personal development, start with a walk around the block. Start with the refinement of your philosophy. Start with the teaching of your own fabulous mind, where all the answers are. I can only give you a few answers from my own experience. The rest of all the magical answers are within the confines of your own mind. But it takes the books, takes the cassettes, takes the videos, personal conversation, sermons, lyrics from songs, dialogue from the movie. Let your heart be stirred by words. Find ways to capture part of your personal development. Now here's the last subject on personal development just before we take our break. Isn't this good stuff? I'm telling you, this stuff changed my life. Turned me every way but loose. I've never been the same since the teacher gave me some of this simple instruction. How to go from where you are to where you want to go. How to go from what you are to what you want to become. How to go from pennies to treasure. How to go from nothing to fortune. It's all within the confines of this stuff that I've been trying to share with you, laboring best I can.